evidence-based information and information about psychology and how you can support yourself using this knowledge. I just want to note that this information and sessions cannot be accepted as treatment. If you are experiencing considerable mental health challenges, it's recommended to visit your family doctor or to attend psychotherapy. So the aim of my videos is just to increase your awareness and to help you to support yourself by taking more intentional choices in your life. Yesterday we started to discuss about perfectionist, and we were exploring which questions you can ask yourself and how you can support yourself using solution-focused brief therapy approach. And today we will continue on this topic. It's quite common that high achievers, people who have achieved a lot of success, they might be having perfectionist features. And actually, this doesn't always harm the person. It generally helps to stay more disciplined, to be more successful. And oftentimes, people who are having perfectionist features, they are always on time, they are overperforming, they are very successful. However, at some point, it can be difficult for them because maybe they might find themselves overdoing, being overproductive, always being worried about performing perfectly. And when they stay alone, I'm hearing from a lot of people also who are successful that they are oftentimes questioning about their success, whether this is enough. And this might become a factor that is leading towards burnout or exhaustion, and even can lead to depression or anxiety symptoms. And another challenge that perfectionist people are experiencing is sometimes avoiding certain things. And this again is driven by the fact that they want to do everything perfectly, they want to look perfectly, and they want their work to be perfect. So when they hesitate that they are not 100% ready, they start avoiding things, and this can also become a challenge for them and become a problem in their career or in their work. So we have mentioned about these two challenges and how solution-focused brief therapy approaches perfectionist challenges of high achievers, uh, and which can be shown in the form of perfectionism. So what we are doing in therapy is that when a person comes and when they are explaining about their challenges, instead of focusing and trying to focus on the problem, we are helping the person to understand what kind of change they would like to see, what they want to achieve instead. And for instance, we were also discussing in the previous session, for instance, if you are having perfectionist features, if you are overworking or avoiding things, what change you would like to see in yourself. For instance, after listening to this session, if you found that it was useful for you, what would you like to be different? What would you like to show up more often? Maybe it's consistency if you are avoiding, or maybe it's just feeling that this is enough, or maybe being able to enjoy your work whenever you are doing your work. What exactly do you want to achieve, and which version of you would you like to see during those moments? Is it a calm version? Is it a kind version? And therefore, in therapy, we are asking a lot of detailed questions for the person to understand what's important for them, which version of them they want to see, which values are there for them. And then we are slowly helping the person to understand what they already have, where exactly they felt the most meaning in their life, which version of them was the most closest to them when they were feeling that this was enough for them, whatever they were doing, they were enjoying this. And after that, we are helping the person to find those resources, environments, people, thoughts, or any strategies, their qualities and their features that they used in order for that part of them, for that version to come out, to show up more often. And so we are helping the person to feel confident, to understand what they need in order to achieve this change. And the last part of solution focused brief therapies is helping the person to describe what kind of change they want to see. So for instance, if these strengths that they were using, if whatever has helped them to achieve that outcome was already here and their version is already here, what would they notice about themselves? For instance, imagine if you want to be more consistent in your work, if you want to enjoy your work. Imagine if you are already enjoying your work, your studies, and you were feeling, instead of feeling worried and anxious and scared, or constantly questioning yourself, is this enough, is this enough, is this work perfect? And instead of taking decisions or acting on your fears in order to avoid or control everything, what difference would it make if you were able to act from the point of love or kindness or enjoying your work, or from the point of meaning? For instance, if it's important for you to contribute to other people's lives whenever you are doing your work, whenever you are studying, whenever you are trying to achieve certain things. If this version of you, caring version, kind version, or the version that is willing to contribute to others was already there, what would you notice about yourself? How would you feel? What would other people notice about you? And what difference would it make for you if you were able to focus on your work from that standpoint, from the being more intentional? What would you notice about yourself? What impact would it have on other people, on your work, on your studies? How would you relate to yourself? And maybe in the past, like where these worries come from, maybe they come from being constantly stressed or criticized, and maybe you are trying to avoid certain negative experiences you had in the past. So instead of concentrating on those negative possibilities, what if you could focus on the person whom you want to become? So this is the difference. Like in therapies, we cannot delete all the problems the person have. Oftentimes, we cannot change circumstances, maybe, but we can change how the person relates to themselves and to the world, how they perceive the stress, the problems, and to understand what helps them to cope, so that if they wish, they could use these resources more often. So we are also trying to help to understand exceptions and resources, as I have already said. For instance, imagine when there should be instances when you felt that your work is enough, that your work is good, and you were enjoying your work. So there should be times when the pressure was slightly lower, and moments when good enough felt acceptable, and situations where your effort felt satisfying rather than drowning, and you were not worried about the outcomes, maybe. So what was there about you that helped you to achieve this outcome? What did you exactly do for this to happen? And clarifying what enough looks like before starting. Maybe you ask yourself what matters most for me here. Maybe you noticed that when you are working with intention instead of fear. So rather than trying to stop anxiety or worries or stress before starting, you expand it by adding another pathway. Like if your mind, for instance, before it was concentrated, focused on avoiding mistakes, right now you start moving forward towards meaningful, desired outcome, the version of you that you want to be, you want to become. And over time, this would help your nervous system to learn that success doesn't only come from pressure, because each time when you are changing your behavior, when you are acting differently, your brain slowly learns that this is safe and there is another pathway, there is another way of seeing the world, seeing yourself. And after that, it will be like each time when you will intentionally choose clarity, direction, or sustainable effort, it will be easier for you to repeat these patterns, this behavior in the future. So the result is not to lower the standards, but to have a different relationship to performance, to yourself, and it will be still effective. You can still be successful, And just when there would be more awareness, more ease, and growing sense of this is enough for me right now. So if this conversation was useful for you, if after listening to this session something has shifted internally, what would you like to be different? Maybe it's more ease while working, maybe it's less pressure before starting, maybe a sense of completion without needing to overextend, or maybe you would like to worry less about your performance, or maybe you would like to stop avoiding or procrastinating when you are not sure that your work is perfect. So what you would like to be there, and which version of you would like to see? Is this more patient, more calm, kind version of you? Is it more disciplined, or less worried version of you, calmer version of you? And understanding this, you can also write it down so that you can remember, would help you to focus your attention, your energy on the person whom you want to become. So, and what would sometimes when you were able to complete something, to achieve something without stressing yourself so much, without pushing yourself to the edge, and when did you do enough and still worked out, and when have you felt satisfaction and you enjoyed your work instead of just feeling relief? And what was different during those moments? For instance, what other people noticed about you when you were able to achieve this? If your closest friend or anyone who is close to you were about to observe you during those moments, what would they say that what exactly helped you to achieve this sense of that version of you? And where else did you see this calm version, consistent version, or enjoy the version who enjoys your work? Where else was this version present, and what exactly helped you to achieve this version of you? So if before, for instance, you were feeling stressed, anxious, there was a sense of urgency and over effort, and after doing a lot of work, or after avoiding or procrastinating, you are feeling relief and pressure, right now you are by answering these questions, you will be adding a second pathway, another way of responding to stress or your thoughts, where you can still feel the meaning and you can enjoy your work despite these uncomfortable feelings, and where you can act differently by adding whatever is meaningful for you and whatever is helping you to enjoy it. So there is always a different way to change. There is an alternative way of acting, behaving. And for instance, what exactly helped you to notice these times when you acted differently, when you enjoyed your work? What would help you to pause even briefly, and at times when you would feel worried or stressed or pressured, what might help you to pause and to react differently, to see different alternative and to start to enjoy your work? What would be there? And perfectionism might be keeping you, making you stressed, and forcing you to constantly overact, overdo. So instead of chasing this comfort that can come from overdoing, for the next step, what would, for instance, a good enough look like before you begin? If you were not aiming 100% perfection, maybe you were aiming at 90-80% perfection, but you were still enjoying your work. What you would notice about yourself just before starting or after starting, what would be different? If, for instance, thoughts that you are not good enough, or this is not good enough, or you have to do it perfectly, were not trying to pull you or disturb you, which thoughts, which feelings, which actions would you notice about yourself that you are doing differently during those moments? And imagine that this loop, like this cycle, initial cycle where you were, when you were feeling stressed, when you had these negative thoughts about yourself, about performance, when you had thoughts that you need to be perfect and you were overdoing or procrastinating, avoiding. If this cycle has has started to change slightly and become more balanced. You are, imagine that you are still performing well, you are succeeding, but something is different. There is less urgency that is driving you. You don't need to overextend every time, and you can finish and mentally step away. What would you notice first in that version of you? What would be the smallest sign that you are moving towards that person whom you want to become, towards that direction? And maybe you have already built the ability to follow through, to care about quality, to stay consistent. And these qualities that helped you to succeed, they didn't disappear, but something else was added, something more meaning that created more balance in your efforts or in your steps. And what would let you know that this shift is already happening? If your brain is capable of learning from what works, and if you were able to learn the old habits, old activities, the ways of responding, your brain can relearn again to have different ways of responding and to create change for themselves. And solution focused approach believes that every person is capable of change and that they already have everything that they need in order to create this change. So in performance psychology also, instead of removing the cycle, the loop, we gently try to reshape it. You can begin reinforcing a different pattern, different behavior, noticing the effort. For instance, if when your mind starts to tell you that this is not enough, that you are not perfect, that you can make mistakes, that you need to control everything, noticing the moments when you were able to succeed and when you didn't listen to these stressful, anxious thoughts, and noticing your efforts, what you have already completed, not just outcomes, and being grateful for it, noticing those moments when you are succeeding, acknowledging completion, not just perfection, and also keeping in mind why you are doing this. For instance, there can be certain tasks that you are doing just because it's important for you, and it's more important to try to continue to do it even if you are not being perfect in that sense. So what is that meaning for you? What helps you to keep going? What motivates you? What drives you? What do you think is the most important reason behind your work or your efforts, trying to complete certain efforts? So rewarding yourself, not for finishing, but for being there, for doing certain things, for enjoying what you are doing, can help to create different neural pathways according to neuroplasticity of our brains. And everyone is capable of starting to enjoy whatever they are doing, completing, even before completing, or feeling good about themselves, about their work, even if it's not perfect. So at certain point, the drive for excellence can shift from I want to do well, it can be I need to avoid getting it wrong. And let's explore it more deeper. When you feel the urge to do something perfectly, what are you trying to prevent? This can be related with fears. Maybe you had a lot of critics in the past, or negative experiences, or you were trying to control the situation. And what exactly was making you to overperform, overdo? And oftentimes people notice that those reasons that they were using for overperforming in the past, they don't exist anymore, and there is no such a threat, and there is no need for them to feel scared anymore. And that's the point where they can invite something different into their lives. They can invite the reason, the meaning that they are searching for. So without judging it, understanding yourself, and opening new doors for different ways of seeing your life, seeing yourself, and seeing the people around you, and remembering about what was motivating you, what was driving you, and what's really important for you today, can be the sources of relief, and can help you to enjoy your work. So Imagine if there was less internal pressure, if you were not constantly scanning for errors, if you can complete something and mentally let it go. What would you notice about yourself in that version of you? How would your day feel different? How would your evenings look different? How would your relationships change? How would your way you relate to your work change? And what would others notice about you? For instance, how would you like to approach your tasks differently if anxiety was not there, if worries were not there, if the fear to fail or if the fear to be criticized wasn't there? How would you like to respond instead? What would you like to notice about yourself? How would your pace change? Would you be doing everything faster or slower? How would happen? What would happen to your energy across the day? Uh, would you like to be more energized or calmer? What would be the first small sign that this shift is already happening? And another challenge that perfectionist people, high achievers are experiencing because many of them are overperforming, trying to control everything. After a certain time, they might feel drained, exhausted, they might have mental fatigue or signs of burnout or depression. And at this point, they might feel that this is their fault and they can be blaming themselves and trying to push themselves even harder. And that's why they start procrastinating or being more critical with themselves. And this interpretation can become that I'm sleeping, I'm not as disciplined, but what's really happening is different. Their brain is trying to protect them from overload. And during these times when a person is too stressed or too harsh on themselves, what's happening in their brain is that prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for clarity, planning, decision making, becomes less efficient under sustained stress. So thinking might feel harder, decisions might feel heavier, and focus can become inconsistent. And so this is not a loss of ability. It's not a character flaw. There is nothing wrong about the person. It's a temporary shift of the brain into protection mode. Imagine, for instance, if your computer was working for very long, and when it is overloaded or when the charge is low, it will keep itself in the energy protection mode, energy saving mode. And in the same manner, our brains are starting to protect themselves from too much stress. And understanding this would help to blame themselves, blame yourself less, and to be willing to relate differently to yourself and to take steps towards healing. So what's really pointing to is that what your ability to perform well isn't just about how disciplined or driven you are, it's also about how much capacity your system has available in the moment. And capacity would include things like mental energy, focus, emotional steadiness, and physical resources. And even highly driven people cannot operate at full output continuously because the brain and body naturally move in cycles. So in a solution focused way, instead of asking how do I push harder, the question becomes what helps me to have more available capacity when I need it, what might help me to have more energy, what might help me to find more motivation, more resources. And by answering these questions, what helped you in the past, what was helping you to be more energized, what was bringing you more focus, more clarity, more joy from your work, you can again find your resources towards recovery. If we look at your own experience, there are likely times when you've been able to focus clearly, work efficiently, and still feel relatively steady, not stressed. That's the effort recovery and re-engagement cycle working well. So even if you don't label it that way, it can be helpful to explore when have I performed well without feeling depleted afterward. What was different about how I paced myself? What was different about your routines, about your time management, about activities that you were doing? What helped you to reset even briefly before continuing? Those moments are important because they show your system already knows how to sustain performance. It's not something you have to build from scratch. And from there, the shift is small and practical. Instead of relying on discipline to carry you through, you begin to intentionally include short forms of recovery. So your capacity, your ability to perform and enjoy your life, enjoy yourself can come back online automatically. And that might look like completing one defined piece of work and pausing, stepping away briefly, or mentally understanding completion before moving, continuing. You might ask yourself, what helps me feel even 1% more clear or steady or to enjoy my work? What allows me to come back to a task with slightly more focus and less stress? These small adjustments support your biology, your mind, your body, and over time they can make your performance more consistent, not by criticizing or forcing yourself, but by working in a way that your system can sustain. So if your mind felt even slightly clearer tomorrow, what would be the first small sign of it? How would you notice it? What would feel just a bit easier? What task would feel more approachable? And when did you notice even a slight drop in pressure in the past? When does your work feel more fluid, less forced, less stressed? What was different during those moments? And what are you doing or not doing that already supports that shift? And maybe you are already seeing this change and shift in your everyday life. Who are you with this? Whom did you see yourself during these moments, and what expectations were present or absent? What did your internal dialogue look like? How you were interacting with yourself? So also, instead of like probably in your answers you found this already, instead of focusing on what should be right or what should be wrong, maybe you were caring about this mattered for you because it was important for you, and this was very different internal experience. So shifting your focus from outcome to process and evaluation to engagement, pressure to intention, you will slowly change your habits and change the way you are relating to your thoughts, internal experiences, to yourself, to the world around you, and focusing on the person who want to become might help you to feel less stressed and to enjoy your work. So when you think about the work you do, what actually matters to you about it? What do you want it to stand for? What values are underneath your effort? Is it growth? Is it contribution? Is it mastery, creativity, kindness, care? How would your work feel if it was guided by this version of your part of you rather than pressure and stress? And when your actions connect to values instead of fear, what would be different? Your nervous system would start to respond differently. There would be less threat activation, there would be more sustainable motivation, more consistency without burnout, or less procrastination. And if your standards were guided by values instead of pressure, what would stay the same? What would you like to simply change, slightly change? What you be doing less, and what would you like to do more? And what parts of you are already there? What parts of you were there when you were able to enjoy your work and not to be critical with yourself and to enjoy whatever you were doing? Was this curiosity? Was this care? Was this creativity? And which parts of you would like to see more often in the future? Which parts of you would like to show up more often? And what do you feel most like yourself? When do you feel most like yourself? What activities bring even a small sense of ease and that version of you that you want to see more often? And what would it look like to include just 5% more in your everyday life? So I tried to use a lot of questions to understand yourself better. What can help you to overcome perfectionist features and focus on your work, on what's important for you, and to enjoy your work. And if you were experiencing challenges such as avoiding or procrastinating or overworking, how you might respond differently, relate differently, and what can be done to help yourself, to understand yourself better, and to create change that you want to see. I hope this session was helpful for you. If you have further questions or if you want more detailed individualized support, you are always welcome to therapies. And if you have any questions, you can also leave your questions in the comments. Thank you for your time and see you in the next videos. Take good care of yourself.